Hey, what's up everybody on YouTube? My name's Leon Johnson, aka Sleeping Ghoul, and I'm a tattoo artist in Brisbane, Australia, specializing in dark style tattoos. So one of the biggest questions I get asked as a tattoo artist is how much for a tattoo? And this is an understandable question since people would like to know what the prices are before getting anything, especially since tattoos are expensive. But a question that's only asking how much for a tattoo isn't really something a tattoo artist can answer without knowing any of the details. So I will go through different variables that can contribute to a tattoo price and how you can go about asking a tattoo artist how much for a tattoo. Also keep in mind that the prices I'm going to be giving in this video is going to be in Australian dollars since I'm in Australia. But from my understanding, tattoo prices are relatively similar across other countries, but it could vary depending on the states or the countries you're in. There are many things that can contribute to the price of a tattoo, but the three main things that determine the price of a tattoo are size, placement, and complexity. First, I'll talk about how these three things determine the price of a tattoo, then I'll talk about the other stuff. First, let's talk about sizing. The size can be anywhere from a tiny fingernail to a full sleeve or back. If you were to get a tattoo of a snake, it can be anywhere from a small size like this to the size of my hand to the size that can cover your whole arm. The size of the person can also come into consideration as well. Let's say there are two people getting the same tattoo that covers their forearm. One person is 160 centimeters and weighs 50 kilos. Another person is 180 centimeters and weighs 100 kilos. That's going to make a difference in how big the tattoo is going to be because the size of their forearm is going to be different. So depending on how big or how small the tattoo is going to be, this is going to greatly affect how long the tattoo is going to take, which equals to costing more or less. Now let's talk about the placement. Different areas of the body will take quicker or longer and more or less difficult to tattoo. Areas like the forearm or the lower legs are probably the easiest areas to tattoo because the skin there are already stretched out nicely. Upper arm and leg are a little more difficult and takes longer because those areas are larger and the skin there are a little more loose, especially the higher you go up, like your armpit or bum area. Areas like elbows or knees takes much longer in comparison to the other areas of the arm or leg because the skin there is very loose and it's also much harder to get the ink into the skin. The other thing with the elbows or knees is that when you bend your arms or legs, the tattoo will increase in size. As you can see with my elbow, when I bend my elbow, it increases in size. So these factors combined will make it longer and much more difficult to tattoo. When you get to the torso like stomach or ribs, it is the same thing with how the tattoo will increase in size when you get your tattoo done. These areas are also very sensitive, and so there's a higher chance that the client won't be able to lay still, making it very difficult to tattoo and time consuming. Other areas around the body all have their own challenges. Complexity of a tattoo is basically how much and what details are in the tattoo. A lot of it will pretty much vary with the style and the design of the tattoo you're getting. Different styles of tattoos come with different techniques, some are quicker than others and some are more or less complex. For example, realism with a lot of contrast and smooth shading compared to like a trad piece with solid lines and packed colors. Typically, I would say realism takes longer to tattoo, having to make smooth shadings and transition between different tones, and there's usually more details in it. While trad usually focus more on solid line work and there are less variations for tones and colors in shading. With designs, for example, a dragon is a more of a complex design than say a snake. A dragon usually has a lot more features in the face and the body, or if you get a tattoo of a girl, it's not that complex until you add things like jewelries or facial tattoos and other stuff. So all of these things will contribute to the complexity of the tattoo and how long the tattoo will take to do, and therefore the price will vary. Okay, so I've just talked about the three main things that contribute to the price of a tattoo. Now I'll talk about the other things that can come into place. A color tattoo will typically cost more than a tattoo that only uses black ink. This is because color tattoos take longer to do and are harder to work with for many reasons. There are way more tones with colors. You can have blue, but you could end up using 2 or 3 shades of blue. There are also many different colors that can go into a tattoo, like red, yellow, blue, green, and so on. And each time you go to change a color, you need to thoroughly clean out the needle so that the colors don't mix together, and this can be time consuming. So each artist have their own rates and will charge differently to others. Some charge by the hour, some charge by half days or full days, and others charge by the piece. Hourly rates can range anywhere from 100 to 500 and up. Full day rates can range anywhere from 500 to 3,000 and up. The average rate from my knowledge is 150 to 250 per hour and 700 to 1200 for full days. The reason tattoo artists' rates can vary so drastically is because of things like experience, skills, and the artist's demand. If the artist has like 10 years experience, they're most likely going to be a lot better than someone who's been tattooing for a couple of years. And if an artist is famous or popular, they're most likely really good and better than your average artist. And they're most likely going to be in a high demand and they can charge a lot more than your average artist. But do keep in mind that just because someone is famous doesn't make them better than someone who's not famous. Another thing when it comes to different artists is how they work and how long it takes them to complete a tattoo. One artist could take 3 hours while another could take 6 hours to complete a tattoo that's like the same sort of tattoo. So the artist who takes longer will most likely cost more whether or not the tattoo is any better or worse. All these things that I've talked about are pretty much all the main things that determine the price of a tattoo. There are other things that can contribute to the pricing, but they're usually more like the artist's personal choice, like discounts, regular customers and such. Best and quickest way to ask a tattoo artist for the price of a tattoo is to provide details about the tattoo you're wanting to get. If you have an idea or even reference pictures, send it to them and let them know the placement and size. For example, you want to get a tattoo like this, you can show them this picture and say something along the lines of, I want to get a tattoo like this on my right inner forearm in black and grey around palm size. Could I get a price? And the artist might say $200 to $300. Or if you want a larger tattoo like a full sleeve or back piece, you can show them a bunch of pictures if you have any, or give descriptions of what you want in it and also in what style, and the artist can provide you their rates, like their day rates and how many sessions it will approximately take to do. And if you just want to know what the artist's rates are, you can just ask them for their hourly or day rates. Overall, when you're looking for an artist to do your tattoo, I would recommend that you find an artist that you like the work of and fits what you would imagine getting on you, and not worry about the price too much. Don't cheap yourself out on tattoos and get a full sleeve for $200 because it's most likely going to turn out looking like a skid mark in a club toilet. Tattoos are an investment on your body. It's permanent, and if you're going to laser it, it's going to cost you way more than what a good tattoo would have. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a great day, everyone. Please like and subscribe and all that, please.